I'm here with Angelo. Angelo, I'm so excited to have you here in the studio. It's my first ever in-person interview, and it's really cool to be on the same team with TFT, but also be from CEO to CEO of two different prop firms.
Yeah, it's great to be here. I'm super excited to finally get in person. It's been a long time coming, to have this conversation and just keep the ball rolling. So yeah, super pumped. So to get into it a little bit, it's obviously been quite some time that from the point at which TFT started, right?
Yeah, about 2 years.
It's been 2 years, yeah, which is pretty crazy. And a lot has changed, obviously. There's a logo up here on the back, right? So a lot has changed, and I think that it's important to, the same way we built TFT, just to remain transparent and to continue to discuss things that are going on. So yeah, obviously you've got your new company. So do you want to talk a little bit about it? Make a little announcement.
Sure. So I made a video on my channel already announcing Smart Prop Trader. I was in a whole Santa outfit and everything. It was a whole thing. So if you haven't already seen that video, make sure you do go see that one. But basically the premise of Smart Prop Trader is I was trying to make it the smart option for prop traders. And the reason for this is I wanted to make the lowest cost program and also have the lowest profit targets to hit. And then this would only be at the expense of the maximum drawdown, which is the only reason that people really wouldn't go with this particular program. And I also wanted to differentiate enough from the funded trader because the funded trader is known for the absolutely massive drawdown. So these two companies together is actually a really good synergy because it hits on two different types of traders, a very, very massive difference between a trader who'd go with TFT versus SPT.
Yeah, so going back to, TFT, and it originally starting, we've obviously talked about it. We've done an interview before, on Zoom. You've talked with the other founders as well. So what was your role in TFT to begin with, and what was your role now? Because in the beginning, it was very clear what the role really was. So maybe speak on that a little bit.
Sure. So at the beginning, I was creating YouTube videos in the prop firm space in general, and that created a really great synergy with Angelo as well as the other founders of TFT to utilize my expertise, my experience from interviewing all these different prop firm founders. And then when I interviewed all these founders, I had a lot of ideas, and I was able to create the general structure for all the programs within TFT alongside Angelo, of course. And we put those together, and I also was able to make YouTube videos around the company as well. And I was essentially the chief growth officer of TFT. And now my role is I'll make videos on TFT as well as do market research. And I'm also working on quite a few things behind the scenes that I can't quite speak on just yet.
Yeah, so from my perspective, right, it's the same. Blake helped develop all the products with the company. For me, it was when I was trying to find partners originally for the funded trader, I really wanted to find people who were extremely knowledgeable of the prop firm industry and that could help me navigate what traders wanted, what the company, the messaging, like how we should approach certain situations. And I looked to Blake to really help us out with that. And he's obviously done like an amazing job with that for the company, and is still, like you said, in more of like an advisory role where we're going to him to perform, whether it's research or, for example, the Knights Challenge, a new product that came out. I had for you guys to understand, what the process of that a little bit is. I went to Blake and just asked him, hey, what would make us have the best, one-step challenge, or one of the best in the industry, right? And then Blake will go and he'll do his assessment based on, his own research, his own knowledge, and say, this is what's important to do, for the drawdown or for the price or for this. And then we'll take that and, the whole team will evaluate the best way to go about things. So yeah, still leaning heavily on him when it comes to product development, even like, situational type tasks where we just need to know how to communicate certain things. But obviously your role with the Smart Prop Trader it's a bit more involved, right? So maybe speak a bit more to that so people know.
Sure. So just one more thing about what you were just saying is, as TFT has grown, we've also had a lot more data to work with. Now it is one of the very largest prop firms in the world, and it grew to that stature very, very quickly. And now we have people in-house within the fund trader that are able to do all the data analyses of all of our options and all of our models that we have, and make it profitable for both the company and also be very, very competitive to the trader. So within Smart Prop Trader, I basically wanted to expand on all this and also take on a CEO role within the company as well. I've also hired some amazing people such as Ryan. Anyone who knows about Smart Prop Trader also knows about Ryan. He's very active in the Discord. He's been an absolutely stallion within the company, and really, really happy to have him on the team as well.
Yeah, I mean, at the core of every business, you need to have people who are super passionate, super motivated, especially like a customer-centric business right now. And I think that it's commendable that you're stepping into that role, as a CEO. As you kind of said in the beginning, it's kind of you're this chief executive of your company. I'm like chief executive funded trader. So it's very interesting to see you rise up and want to step into that role, because you certainly could have just kept coasting into the sunset here, right? So like what motivated you, obviously besides money and whatever, but like what really motivated you to try to, start the company and try to get into the role and everything?
I think what really wanted me to set everything apart from TFT for this particular company was I wanted to have it be a very, very different model, but something that's also very similar to what TFT already has, whereas TFT already has 3 different models that are 2-phase. And I didn't want to add a 4th one to that, because if you get too many different models all within the same company, it just gets oversaturated, it gets too confusing. And with Smart Prop Trader, it was able to have that opposite approach where it's very, very quick in order to get the funding. The processing times are usually same day. There's no minimum, so people have already purchased on day 1. It's automatic to go to phase 2. From phase 2 to funded is done by Ryan. This is a really, really fast review, but he usually processes those within a couple of hours of someone passing phase 2. And so Smart Prop is really focusing on the speed and the price aspects.
Yeah, and so for someone that with the funded trader, obviously me being in the CEO role, and then the team is pretty big now, but a lot of the decisions were made, by myself, by Carlos, with feedback from you, obviously. But with Smart Prop, it seems like a lot of the decisions are made by you, right?
Yeah, I basically make all the decisions within Smart Prop.
Yeah,
I do get advisory and counsel from other members of the team as well.
That's good. That's solid. Yeah, so it's exciting, for you to be in that new role. And listen, as you said, the team for TFT has expanded, but for ourselves as well, as original founders of TFT, we're all just trying to continue to grow within this industry. You're spreading your wings, with this new company. You really see that there's potential here to offer a great new product to clients. Ourselves, me and Carlos, we're helping other clients as well, other prop firms as well. And it's almost like we're in a way the grandfathers of the industry.
I definitely feel that way, for sure. I feel like a lot of other prop firm owners are coming to us for the guidance and in order to make their prop firms as successful as possible, both for being more competitive in the overall industry, as well as being a profitable prop firm as well.
Yeah, so getting into, obviously we could talk all day on the prop firm ownership side and everything that's going on, and we'll get into that. But getting back to the trader out there, with everything that's going on, all these new companies popping up, right? TFT expanding, and there's issues with 8cap, issues with this, and right, there's all these FTMO banning the top 8 from the leaderboard, right? There's a lot going on. So as a new trader in the industry, or even an experienced trader, what are some red flags they should be looking out for when it comes to prop firms right now?
I think you have to be really realistic and also understand that prop firms are a business and they want to be profitable. And if they're not going to be profitable, then that is a huge red flag right there. So for example, I know of a prop firm, I'm not going to name names, but for example, they allow people to essentially cheat to pass phase 1 and 2, and then they hope that their very, very difficult live conditions on the funding stage are enough to not back people and pay and still pay everyone out. This company was growing so fast that it essentially became a Ponzi scheme of sorts, where they were just using the money from all the people coming in to pay those people out. But it was built so poorly that I think that company is going to go down very, very soon. And so for companies, you really want it to be, you want there to be some hard rules in there. You don't want it to be make 1% gain. Now you're funded with $1 million for $100 cost.
Yeah,
that would just be unrealistic, and it would be the most obvious scam out there.
Yeah, no, I 100% agree. I talk about this a lot. Like, transparency in this industry is key. And if the prop firm is creating conditions that are so favorable, it's almost too good to believe. It really is, right? It really is. And we're seeing that with several companies, right? We're not going to name names out here, but like this year is going to be very interesting to see how companies navigate this.
I think it's more important than ever to listen to authority people in the space and listen to what they have to say about which prop firms are trustworthy and which ones aren't. I think that unfortunately this year I expect a couple prop firms to go under just because there will be a shift of momentum, and a lot of prop firms just simply don't have a profitable model.
Yeah, and so you've been obviously very passionate about this industry, even really before I got into the industry, right? You've been reviewing these companies from the very beginning, and the space, like I said, has changed a lot. So where do you see all of this continuing to go? Like you mentioned last night, a number on the industry on how much money is in it right now. Like where do you see this industry evolving into in the next 1-2 years?
I think one of the big aspects of this industry that's up to come is people from all the countries that haven't really heard about prop firms yet. Maybe they speak a different language, or they just aren't even really involved in the industry yet. Those people will find out about it, and those people's groups will be excited about it just as much as anyone else has been. And they're going to discover the possibility of this. Prop firms are just so great for profitable traders. It is directly in your favor to go with a prop firm over a normal account, provided that you are profitable.
Yeah, and for those that don't know, Blake originally was just a prop trader, right, with FTMO. That's how your page got started, right?
Yes. Originally, on my page, you can go back and scroll up to the very beginning. It was essentially when FTMO still had a 70% profit split. You still had to make half of your days had to be positive trades. FTMO has gotten rid of a lot of rules since then. They've changed a lot of things. They are evolving with the industry. They're kind of slow in some aspects, but they are going with the industry. But overall, people have just seen a massive shift. And within my own channel and my own journey, I ended up being able to have a large profit split pretty early on. And that got me hooked because I saw the potential of prop firms. And I was actually able to pass on my first try because I had a lot of prior Forex experience. And that's just, I love that opportunity that I was able to have over $20,000 in profit from just like 2 months of work on a $100,000 account.
And for those wondering, you're still trading right now?
I am still trading. Yeah. I do a lot of things that I don't make videos on anymore. For example, I do have an account with my Forex funds. And I'm actually getting a payout very, very soon with that one. But I don't really talk about this kind of stuff on my channel so much anymore. Mainly because it just isn't. It's not that interesting. I've already made a lot of videos on getting paid out. Everyone knows that my Forex fund's legit, FTMO's legit, the fund and trader's legit, Smart Prop Trader's legit. There's a lot of prop firms out there that have already been proven, and it's just not that interesting to talk about anymore if you get a normal size payout.
So I recently was reading this book, and it was about marketing, and it was talking a lot about how the customer, is the most important, right? And I feel like a lot of people start channels on YouTube, and it's really all about them, right? And in the beginning, your channel kind of was like that. It was kind of like I passed, I got paid, but it was inspirational, right? Like people wanted that type of content. What moved you to shift now where everything's just about how can I add value to people? How can I create good products for people, right? Like what shifted to get to that point?
So the big change is that I ended up discontinuing my mentorship. So before I had Trade Connect VVS, so that's my YouTube channel. The VVS in that came from VVS Academy, and that was my mentorship where I taught people how to trade using smart money concepts, Elliott Wave, and also a little bit of Wyckoff. And I've since discontinued this company. That's transitioned over to one of the employees with that one. He now took over everyone that was with that company before. They're all being very well taken care of. But that was the shift that I had. And when I kind of stepped out of that role of trying to essentially convince people that they should sign up for my mentorship, I just wanted to help out the community in general. I don't care where you've learned how to trade. I just care that you are good, and I wanted to help you get better in general. And it just doesn't even really make sense for me to push my own mentorship anymore, because people are going to learn from all over the place. And my strategies are good. They work for me, but they don't work for every single person.
Right.
And that's kind of what I saw as time went on.
It's limiting.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And I just wanted to help as many people as possible, basically.
Yeah, it sounds like the mission certainly expanded, right? It started a bit small, started with you, then it was mentorship, and then now it's the prop trading. And then there's some projects in the pipeline that is even beyond that. And then I know you were saying you repurposed the site, the URL, right, for VVS?
So I will be doing that. For now, the site is tradeconnectvvs.com. This is a brand new website that I haven't spoken about publicly yet. If you go to this website, you can actually see all these different prop firms, all of my most up-to-date review on every single one. I try to update this every single week with the latest news. I have people helping me as well to stay up to date on all these different prop firms, have all their stats on there. You're able to compare prop firm to prop firm. It's basically like my videos where I make a top 7 list, except for you can have that all the time. And it's going to be this website. And I really hope that people enjoy this resource to be able to determine which prop firm is best for you.
Yeah, it's going to be a very valuable resource. That's one of the things like internally as on my side, like we're growing in the industry and offering services to clients. We have internally a comparison chart. We're always looking at how things are changing, right? Like this is very important for you guys to be looking at resources like that he is putting out there. So definitely check it out, whether now or when it's, more ready. But I think that's going to be very valuable for people out there. So getting back onto the TFT side. So TFT originally, when we launched, right, someone got a $50K payout. We're trying to showcase it and stuff, and now we're doing like $4 to $5 million in payouts a month, right? Like, what do you just kind of think of the current status and how we've grown? Like, what do you think overall about that?
I think it's really a beautiful thing. It is the largest prop firm in the United States, which is just absolutely amazing to say that I can be a part of that. That I was on the original founding team of a company that is so large like that. And I'm so happy to see as well that there are traders getting these absolutely massive payouts, where for the fund and trader, a $50,000 payout, that's still really good, but it's not even, there's 4 million in total. So this is just a whole nother level to this, because it has been shown to be so trustworthy, which again is actually one of the reasons why I made that website, tradeconnectvvs.com, is to show off the trust of different prop firms. So people like you, traders, can know which prop firms are legit, which ones are trustworthy, and which ones should almost for sure be avoided.
Now, as you embark on this or have embarked on this new mission with Smart Prop and you're more involved and more in the weeds, similar to how I have always been with TFT, like what do you have to say to people in regards to how difficult it is to run one of these companies, like how much things are changing internally and stuff, how much we gotta be on top of everything?
It's difficult in a variety of ways. It was very expensive to start up. First of all, the technology, setting everything up, employing everyone, it was quite a lot, because I wanted to make the company that was ready to go, ready to be scaled, ready to be very competitive for prop firm traders. And that's just one side of things. In terms of the work required, that's a whole nother ball field. I mean, it's just absolutely insane how much more work there is when you are on the side of it. Mm-hmm. It's just, you don't even see that. You don't even think that there's anything like that when you are just a prop firm trader instead of an actual prop firm owner. There's a lot of stuff that you just can't even really explain. Yeah, I'm at a loss for words basically. But like setting up all these different multiple companies just to make one company successful is just quite a lot of work.
Yeah, and at the same time, it's like so exciting, right? It's so exciting for you, because for me as well, like I've attained a level of fulfillment in my work that I never could have believed like existed, because we're making a good amount of money, right? We are, but at the same time, there's traders all over the world making a fair amount of money as well, right? The average payout, I believe, on TFT is like $7,000 per payout, right? So people are making money all around the world. I'm meeting in Miami. There's people coming up to me. I trade with TFT. Some people still don't believe we even own the company. But like it's an amazing, it's just an amazing relationship that we're forming, amazing product that we're building. And TFT, like you said, is the number one in the US, where if you go by website traffic, which is a pretty good precursor if your website's not absolutely terrible for how big the company actually is. TFT is currently number 3. Last month had 1.4 million, not unique visits, but total visits per month. FTMO had about 4.3 million visits per month. SPT is a little bit more down the list, right? So it's still getting started. What are you gonna do to bring that up? Like, what's most important, you think, to make SPT rise up the ranks here?
That's actually a really easy question to answer, and the reason for that is I just want to make a good experience for the trader. I want to show people that we are legit. We do pay out. We've already had hundreds of thousands of dollars of payouts. It's not to the level of TFT yet. Hopefully we can be there one day, but for now, it is legit. People are getting payouts, and we hope that word of mouth will essentially just spread enough where people are going to be internally excited because of the growing company, and it is growing extremely fast. We already have over 3,000 people sign up for SPT, which is super amazing to see in such a short amount of time.
Yeah, no, I think it's difficult. It's easier in the beginning to be very customer centric because there's not a lot of people, right? So it's like you can in Discord be connected with everyone, and you can really absolve issues, and it's not going to come as much of a cost to the company. As speaking from my experience with TFT, right, it's so big now, right? Like it's so large. The Discord's got 60,000 people. I think SPT has like about 10 in the Discord.
It's coming up on 10, yes.
Yeah. So that alone, I mean, granted, that's not everything, but like the Discord has a ton, the email list has a ton of people, just the customers have a ton of people. And one of the challenges that we're facing with TFT now is just when there's a 8-cap issue, right? When there's like an issue, like there are so many people affected by this stuff going on, and it's certainly very challenging. And we're still like just trying to figure out, like, but when it comes to scaling as much as we have, right, how to have good communications, right, have good risk management, like have sound operations, like have all of these things. And that is just, like you said, it's almost like a loss for words, like how to handle all of that.
It definitely is. And you need a team. It's a lot of people think that you can just run up and spin up a prop firm. Yeah. And there are white label prop firms out there. Those do exist where there is a whole separate company that basically does most of the work. Mm-hmm. But those companies, in my opinion, just cannot be as competitive. No. At least with the current white label offerings out there, it just really isn't competitive with the SPTs and the TFTs of the prop firm industry.
Yeah, I've always said that. There are people that reach out to me all the time trying to start prop firms. Some of them have reason to, some of them don't. And they're asking, can I white label? Can I do my own thing, right? To be clear, what me and Blake have done is we've really gathered the resources, whether it's the technology or the people, the capital, and we've really done everything on our own, right? We've done everything entirely on our own, built our own teams, built our own supports, right? All of this stuff, right? But there are the white labels out there, and the drawback to them, like you said, is that the rules are not as favorable for the traders. The goal for them is to have the least amount of people kind of get through as possible, stuff like that. So they're just never gonna be as competitive. But like you mentioned kind of earlier in this session, is there are some prop firms going the opposite direction, right? They're doing it all themselves, and they're making rules that are super competitive, maybe too much, right? So again, like going back to these new companies, like what are some, again, red flags people really should look out for, just to reiterate?
Yeah, I think some of the prop firms, one example is the unlimited time. And unlimited time does make sense for some models with some prop firms. I'm not saying that every single prop firm that has unlimited time is not legit or anything. However, some of them, especially the newer ones, if they have unlimited time, that is a large risk for the broker because they have to keep that account open for unlimited time. And that actually does cost them quite a bit of money. And that can eventually, that alone can be very, very problematic. In addition to if the prop firm has too favorable of conditions, if the ratio of the drawdown to the profit target is too good, that's actually a bad thing. That means that prop firm is very, very likely going to go under. A lot of these prop firms as well are now offering, not a lot, but a couple of them are offering paying you out during your phase 1, phase 2. Of course, you don't actually even get the money until once you're funded.
Yep.
But you can earn it before. And a lot of people seem to like that, but at the same time, that just is not very sustainable. Basically, if you give all the money back that people are funding on top of those payouts as well, it causes a lot of issues in the long term. And those particular prop firms, if they don't see a huge increase in a continued growth, they're very, very likely to go under.
Yeah. No, I mean, at the end of the day, there's getting into like the revenue of prop firms, there's obviously challenge revenue, there's trading revenue, prop firms trying to generate revenue as IBs as well, right? There's different avenues of revenue, but if they're, to your point, if they're having these conditions that are just way too favorable and they're really new, as they grow, say the website goes down, right, for a couple of days, right? Stuff like the processing goes down. Like you obviously are starting to learn about processing, how difficult it is to manage that. Right. Like, there's a lot of things that could really be putting that company at risk. So if you think that's too good to be true, it really most likely is. So look out for that. So I have a question. So I ran a poll recently. What do you think is going to come first? Do you think the prop firm industry will become regulated, or do you think one prop firm will hit 1 billion in payouts?
That's a good question. I haven't really thought about that. I would have to guess that regulation is going to come first.
Yeah.
And I think that it's not the worst thing, especially for the prop firms that are established. For the newer ones, that's just going to kill them. Because usually, if we look at how Forex was regulated in the U.S., in particular with like the Dodd-Frank Act, that was absolutely horrible for the trader. That made it basically so U.S. traders can't sign up with any decent brokers. You can still go up with Owanda, Forex.com, a couple others, but you're so limited in Forex if you want a U.S. regulated broker because of this act. And that was, in my opinion, just one of the very worst possible things for in the Forex trading space. And I'm afraid something like that may eventually happen to the prop firm space. But for the bigger ones, like the TFT and where SPT will be very soon, it's not going to be as big of an issue because we'll have the resources to overcome those. Yeah,
and when you're, like you said, a company that's already established, like TFT, and that's leading the space and is large in the US, most likely will be looked to for advisement on regulation if we make ourselves available to them when this does come. And hopefully we can be involved in those conversations, and they'll be able to kind of not sweep us under the rug with things, but they'll let us collaborate, right, to make things happen. And at the end of the day, I'm pretty positive that you're using similar like regulatory counsel that we are with TFT, with Smart Prop and whatever. And the people that we're utilizing for advisement are consummate professionals, right? They've read the CFTC guidelines hands down, like every single line. They're guiding us on how to set up our entities, where to conduct our trading activities, everything like that. So at this moment, we are really doing everything we can when it comes to like regulation and operating, which is important. And part of that is working with 8cap, which is a regulated broker.
Of course,
right now
they're ASIC regulated.
Yeah, which is interesting. They have multiple regulations. And is 8cap the only broker you offer with SPT?
For now, it is. Yes.
For now, yeah. I know there's some new ones coming, right, in the pipeline.
Yes.
Yeah, which are also, I believe, regulated. Mm-hmm. So yeah, that's an important part of all of this too. Obviously, I mean, we're excited to continue to collaborate with 8cap. There's been some issues with them, right? but for the most part, they're supporting us in this new industry that we're in, which has been a wild ride, right?
I think ACAP in general has been an absolutely fantastic partner for both companies, namely because they have such great conditions. A lot of traders don't appreciate the depth of their spread. So there might be some other brokers out there that might even have equivalent or maybe even slightly better spreads than ACAP. But if you want a legitimate company, that company should at least be able to match trades. Even if they're not matching every single trader's trades, they should have the ability to if they want to have a sustainable company. And with ACAP, they have depth on their order book. They don't just have it where if you place one full lot on whatever EURUSD even, you get slipped. Well, a lot of other brokers do have that, where they just don't have that depth. But they show the demo conditions that are amazing. But if you actually try to trade with a live account, you just get slipped even with a very small lot size.
Yeah, AidCap's been amazing in that regards. They've offered us access that we need, right? They've offered us an account that we can use to route the trades and everything. So, listen, if a prop firm's out there and they're working with AidCap, you could almost assume that they're trying to do the right thing.
Yes.
Right? It is what it is. There's obviously been some server-related issues, and this goes back to the unlimited trading days. Like prop firms that are doing that are kind of slapping the broker in the face in a way. They're slapping the broker in the face. They're slapping you in the face too, the client, because by clogging the server with all these accounts, it's not beneficial to anyone.
Right.
At the end of the day. And we know the stats, most people, if they're going to fail the challenge, fail in the first 2 weeks anyway. So from my perspective, like giving 5 million trading days is not going to make the situation better.
Right.
For the trader. It really isn't.
It's diminishing returns as you go higher and higher up.
Yeah. I guess it could be a psychological thing, but at the end of the day, what we're seeing is people are getting the accounts and they're trading them. They're not waiting 45 days, right? For the most part. So yeah, listen, AidCap, again, great partner. We're looking forward to some more with TFT side and your side. We're looking forward to some more partners to come on board on the brokerage side, potentially even our own brokers coming out. We'll keep you guys updated on that. And I'm just looking forward to you, to wrap this up, just looking forward to you continuing to learn kind of in your role at SPT as it grows. There's going to be certain challenges. And, obviously I'm open to continuing to collaborate on some things here. But yeah, hopefully the company does grow to the level that TFT is, because from my perspective, if your company grows, it doesn't necessarily mean it's taking customers from our company with TFT. It's just more people entering the industry, right? Different styles of marketing, different products. You're appealing to different people. And this industry is just in the infancy.
Yeah. I mean, especially these two companies in particular, they are so different on the offering. I think that it's not really applicable to say that the same type of trader would use both of these two companies. I think it is two different types of traders, both valid, both reasonable. But it's going to be something that's going to be very good. And I appreciate how my experience being on this side, being the CEO of SPT, helps me even better be an advisor for TFT. And I think there's still a lot of good collaboration that can go on there, and that's actually getting even better.
Yeah, like I was just a closing remark here. I was thinking the other day, I'm like, wow, we hit 40 million in payouts, but it's like, this could be 400 million, right?
Right.
It should be, realistically, if we all continue to do the right thing. So let's just keep it going. It was good to hop on and do the pod. And yeah, man, I'm excited.
Likewise. You want to hear more details about Smart Prop Trader, or you guys want to see me in a Santa suit, click right here. If you guys want to hear more about the Fun Trader, click right here. I'd love to hear you guys' honest thoughts in the comments below. And remember to like the video if you enjoyed it. Thank you guys so much for watching, and I'll see you guys in the next one.